This is the first episode of actually one of our articles from the book Out of Time. Although we have two other episodes which cover other parts, but this is the first episode for the article called The Theory of Everything. In this episode, we will build a sequence of definitions and descriptions of certain terms that will lead to the concept of the article. The article, by the sound of it, seems as if someone is trying to explain a theory about everything, but it is slightly different. First, we will start with the definition of everything. What is everything? The way we say normally that I gave my everything to this, or everything you do, or I did everything, but then it did not happen, or this person became successful because he put all the ingredients, everything that was required for success. Now, what is this everything that everybody talks about? What is this everything behind a theory or a concept or a plan, an idea? For instance, I want to start a business. Inside my mind, I build everything about it. I count and calculate everything that is involved, and yet my business fails. Or an idea, a concept, or an invention, or creation. I do everything I possibly can, and yet it fails. And sometimes somebody does actually perform everything and succeed. Now, what is this everything? This theory will explain what everything actually stands for. But to comprehend this concept of everything, we will have to first build a context. For instance, when we say everything in the universe, or when we say everything about the universe, or mankind's exploration about everything that mankind sees or knows of or acknowledges, be it religion, be it philosophy, be it science, be it any concept, when mankind has now, up to now, has achieved everything that mankind has so far comprehended about the universe, the multiverse for that matter, it means this everything that keeps on echoing in these sort of terms has to have some sort of a definition and description. Now, that description demands some sort of an infrastructure. That infrastructure we will discuss in this topic, which is called manifestation of dreams into reality. There are three key words that we have used in this sentence: manifestation, dreams, and reality. In the previous chapters, we've been discussing what reality is. Every person has a different reality. My gray could be your black. My blue could be your turquoise. Now, what is the difference that every person's reality carries, and what are the similarities that make these realities come close and develop a fact? We have been discussing that in the previous episodes, so we will go past that. But we know that we have mentioned reality, dream into reality. So we will keep that definition in our minds when we talk about reality. We will come back to one word before that, which we have used. It is dream. That chapter has also been discussed in our Grey Lounge chapters, in the Urdu version in particular. But here, the dream that we're talking about is not just a dream that we see while we are asleep. Rather, it is a dream that we see when we're awake, which is a vision, an idea, a concept, the inception of a thought. This dream turning into reality, to the visible reality of each person within one's own domain. This dream we will emphasize in the coming videos, in the coming episodes. Let's also discuss manifestation. Now, what is manifestation? Imagine a force, a superpower, a supernatural being. In religion, we term that supernatural being as God. Something ineffable, something unexplainable, something that cannot be defined or described or confined into a definition, something so powerful that we just have to surrender to its existence. As I said, religion calls that force God. Science might term it differently. Science might say it's some sort of an energy. This energy is, again, even in science, not describable. It is something very super, it's something beyond comprehension and beyond confinement of a definition. Now, this super force has some sort of an influence. Certain philosophers have termed this as a collective conscious of the whole being, which is called life, be it one person or the 7-8 billion people around, the animals, the plants, all live beings, anything to do with life carries some sort of an energy because of the molecular motion within the structure of that being. That molecular motion generates some sort of an energy. That energy is called kinetic energy. This kinetic energy builds some sort of a field, a magnetic field, because of its to and fro motion, because of the positive and negative charge, and hence it develops a supernatural force field. This force field, science calls energy. This force field, Sufism terms as a spiritual realm. This force field, religion specifically terms as the supernatural existence of the Lord. Now, this supernatural energy is one side of this planet, of this universe, of this multiverse. And then there are forces within this system. For instance, me, for instance, you. You carry some sort of a force. Where is that force originating from? Partially, yes, I agree. I am of the opinion, partially, yes, it is coming from the soul, and partially from the body that the soul represents, or the body that represents the soul. Collectively, these two beings carrying intelligence of their own, a brain in the shape of man, and the soul in the shape of the supernatural being inside it. Now, what is manifestation within this super force field, magnetic field, around which this person lives all its life on the planet? Before the coming onto the planet or after leaving the planet is a separate discussion. We will have that in the next sessions. Now, let's go to the very basic as I started off with, that I think of a business idea. I think of a plan. I think of a concept that I want to do. I think of praying. I think of meditating. I think of living. It means there is a concept, a constant state of energies erupting from my mind, in some cases aligned with the soul, and in some cases not. Hence, there's a set of energies that is being released by each person. Now, each person collectively, individually and collectively, among others, generate this force field containing positive and negative energies. Now, religion says that these positive and negative energies are the intents of each person. This is why religion emphasizes that whenever you do something, keep your intent pure, keep your intent clean and positive, so that in the greater magnetic field, the charge that is emitting from you, from your being, is positive, so that the repercussions that it generates is positive. And religion says if for some reason you're under the influence of a negative charge or a negative aura, you establish a negative field in the greater force field around you. Now, the coexistence of positive and negative field is inevitable. We have to admit that. Regardless of our intent, regardless of everybody's intent, there has to be the existence of a negative charge for the positive charge to be contained within the force field. If the balance is disturbed in any direction, it can cause the force field to be disrupted to a level that the centripetal and the centrifugal forces that revolve the planet around its orbit can actually become a disaster. Earth can bump into Mars and Mars into Saturn. And hence the whole system and the structure of this collective magnetic field might be disturbed. Now, having said that, this whole process establishes an infrastructure where you and I exist, coexist, where good and evil coexist, where thoughts and inceptions coexist. But now, where does manifestation of a person fall in this category? Now, let's explain manifestation a bit. Now, when I'm thinking of an idea, a plan, a concept, what happens is that my imagination is triggered. A thought gives birth to a lot of ideas, concepts, and these concepts develop within my imagination into the inception of an infrastructure. That infrastructure contains all the possible set of definitions that my so far life has experienced, learned, generated, earned, or created. This inception gives birth to a virtual reality inside my head before it is implemented into my practical life. Now, when I keep on thinking, I give time, I continue to think about a plan, I put all the pieces together within my imagination. I'm going to do this, it's going to start like that. I'm going to initiate this, and then this is going to happen. Then this person is going to join in, then that is going to happen, and then it's going to turn into reality. And then I'm going to say, Eureka, I got it. And then I'm going to start implementing it from day one, regardless of the day zero, which people don't get to see. Day zero could be years and years of imagination, years and years of inception of the idea or the dream. But when I practically enter into the force field, the first step becomes the day one of the implementation of the idea. Now, these manifestations, there are millions, hundreds of millions of inceptions within a head, within the imagination of a person, which do not come to life. Because within the mind, you think and think and think it over again, and you realize that it's not even possible, so you don't even start working on that. But there are millions and billions of ideas every day coming into the heads of human beings, which do not even see the day of the dawn of the day, right? But then there are millions of ideas which do. And yet, despite the calculations and assumptions made within the brain, when they are practically implemented, they fail. Now, why do they fail? Despite having done everything, just like we mentioned, the theory of everything. Now, when we discuss it with another third person, with a friend, he says, okay, what did you do? How did you start? Now, where did you fail? Now, then he identifies, or she identifies as a friend, sitting outside as a third person abstractly. And that person says, you did pretty much everything, but you missed out on that. So that goes to show that my everything is different from your everything also, just like my reality is different from yours. Now, within these two different everythings, everything of mine and the everything of the person judging my everything, there lies a factual everything. Now, it means that everything of mine is different from the everything of yours, and hence there are over 7 billion everythings who claim to be everything, and yet they are not. So where is the absolute everything out of which this relative everything is being generated? Now, this absolute everything is a search. The search for this absolute everything is what this chapter is all about, the theory of everything. Now, the manifestation, we will come back to it. The manifestation that you carry, some people even believe, just like Paulo Coelho said in his book, Alchemist, that when you really desperately want something, the whole universe conspires in your favor to make that happen. I beg to differ, because what he undermines while saying that is that there is a complete set of everything opposing that, which is also conspiring in not letting that happen. Why? Because you're going against some sort of a force field also, some sort of a magnetic field, which is opposing it. For instance, good and evil. When somebody good or some good tries to prevail, where is the universe conspiring in its favor? Because when you say the whole universe, you have to keep in mind that the whole universe should also cover the negative force. So technically, the whole universe cannot conspire in my favor because there's a negative, evil which will never let its bits and pieces to conspire in your favor. It would rather go against it. Now, how do I calculate something so well that I even keep the negative side into my calculations and assumptions so that even the presence of the negative would go into my favor because I would have already thought about them. I would have already planned where to place that negative side, where my positive puts it to the right use. In the next episode and in the next chapters, we will discuss how manifestations are generated, what parts of manifestation are within our control. How do we build a manifestation so strong that we can turn our dream or our vision, an idea, a concept into reality, and not just a reality, but a reality which by means of fact finding could turn out to be universally true, turn out to be the ultimate truth. This is where absolutism and absolute reality, these sort of terms come to play. In the next episode, we will discuss how to build a manifestation, keeping everything in view, keeping all the bits and parts of everything into our consideration so that when we build a dream, we know what reality stands for. When we build a dream or a vision, we know what sort of forces are generated by so many manifestations and why every time our manifestation fails to turn into reality. Why and how the infrastructure that exists, which also plays part of our apparatus when we're supposed to perform an experiment, when we're supposed to perform the implementation part of our idea. We have to have these sort of things. This is a set of given that we have to be with, like we are given with 2 eyes, we're given with 2 ears, existence, time, aging, food, hunger, sleep, all sorts of given which might turn out to be as our weaknesses, but are also our strengths. How to turn your weakness into your strength, how to turn the negative charge in the field into your favor is what we will discuss in the next episodes. We will keep these episodes limited, time limited, maximum of 20 minutes so that we do not lose the interest, and we will continue to have these episodes in a sequence. I will see you next time in the next episode. I thank you very much for your attention and your time. If there are any questions, please post them under the video on YouTube, and we will answer those questions also. Thank you very much.